I wanted to make this video because we're currently experiencing something called the coronavirus in the United States and worldwide, and I just touched my face, which nobody's supposed to do right now. Hard not to do. But at the same time, it's important for us to recognize that we need to self-isolate, stay away from crowds, and especially for people like me, I'm 66 years old, we're asked to basically become a bit of a hermit, which for social people my age is a little bit hard to do. So what I wanted to do is cover a few things that we can do at home to stay active enough, but not wear ourselves out, especially if we're having some symptoms. Myself, I had some symptoms that were sort of flu-like, so I immediately went to the doctor, got a test. They gave me some antibiotics. It could be a mild flu, but it's not the coronavirus. But still, I want to stay away from any kind of situation where I might be more susceptible to pick something up from someone else than if I'm just self-isolating at home. So when you have flu-type symptoms, which can be fevers, aches, cough, lung issues, of course your doctor always says get rest, drink lots of liquids, and do some self-healing foods. Just good green leafy vegetables, a lot of fruit, and a lot of liquids, but not caffeine. So your immune system, right, would need focus on healing and focus on staying strong. I usually work out at a gym in addition to doing yoga, so I kind of opted not to do that because I realized that a lot of strenuous motion is going to dehydrate me, could put a strain on my body, and it can just tire out my body instead of giving it rest, which is what I really need to do right now. So I found that the days of being sort of bedbound and housebound has kind of taken a toll on my body, both emotionally and physically. You get more aches and pains because you're not moving as much. You read everything in the paper about flu season's so bad, coronavirus is so bad, whatever the latest issue is so bad. Hopefully you're not following politics, which is also can make you a little irritated. So yoga stretching can make you more comfortable. It can lift your mood and it can help you relax and restore. And adding a little yoga, and you don't have to be a twisty, bendy person to do that on a daily basis, maybe several times a day, can really help you get through a period where you really need to come into yourself, quiet down, and just focus on your own health and well-being. So while we do these, and again, you don't have to be super twisty, and I'm letting you know there's a cat, and he's so cute, and he's going to stick his face up there. Keep going, kitty. Mr. Tux. So we want you to be very safe with your body while you do this. You know what your issues are. If you have neck issues or back issues or whatever, just go to what your limit is. Don't try to do what everybody else in the room is doing or everybody on a video is doing. You want to listen to your own body, and that's one of the beauties of yoga, is you're honoring yourself and you're honoring each other. So one of the very important things of yoga is to do correct breathing. And I love this book. It's called The Healing Power of the Breath. It's only like $10 on Amazon. But it's not a yoga book per se. It's written by a couple of medical doctors. But it aligns with a lot of what I've learned about breath and yoga over the years. And it talks in great detail with lots of examples of how you can use your breath to calm yourself. When you do deep breathing, especially breathing where you sort of halt your breathing, which we'll learn later, that really, really helps to kick in your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your relax, rest, and digest nervous system, versus the nervous system we tend to be in a lot during our day, which is the sympathetic nervous system, which is the flight or fight response. We're animals at the basis of everything, and we tend to have a negativity bias. They've talked about this a lot in positive psychology right now. We have a negativity bias because we're always trying to defend, look out for ourselves and our loved ones. But a lot of times we have to say, look, I'm safe, I'm here, I can relax myself with my breathing. So take a moment, put your hand on your chest and your hand on your belly, and just breathe. Where are you breathing most from? Is it your hand on your chest or your hand on your belly? Most people would say it's the hand on their chest, which is not a good way to breathe. Dr. Andrew White, who is the director, I believe, of the Arizona ASU Department of Integrative Medicine, says if he could teach people one thing to do, it would be to breathe correctly. And that's very, very true. So I'm going to get up on my knees just to illustrate a little bit. We're taught from being a small child on up that we want to constrict our breath. What do they say? Chest out, stomach in, hold your gut in. Do that right now. Chest out, stomach in, hold your gut in. Now try to breathe. It's hard because you have all these muscles constricted. And so we kind of are socialized to breathing incorrectly. But the correct breath is expand your belly, expand your abdomen, and take deep breaths. Let's try that right now and take 5 or 10 deep breaths. Just go as slowly as you can. And use your belly. Expand that belly out as you breathe in. Feel the relaxation. Okay, how do you feel? It may have given you an immediate relaxation response, which is the thing that we want to be doing more often during our day. So now we're going to do some basic body movements, which if you're in the house a lot, in your bed a lot, have to be sitting a lot, you can't really move a lot, these are things that are going to keep you limber, and they will keep you a little bit energized, and they can make you more comfortable, and they can also help you emotionally to just feel better during the day. So we'll try several different movements. Before I get started, what I have over here is I have just a towel, which I may put under my knees if you have knee issues. And I also have a couple of blocks. You don't have to have blocks. They can be kind of handy. These are actually yoga blocks, but you could use a little box or something else. But as we progress, you'll see how I use these. You may not need these. The idea is to make your yoga practice as comfortable and as enjoyable as it can for you. So what we want to do is we'll move the spine in 4 directions to relieve our stiffness, to keep us limber, and to just make us feel good and energize us to a good level. So first, one of the ways that you move your spine is exhale, up and down. So some people say 4, some people say 8, some people say 7. I'm going to say 4, and it's going to encompass all of these. So the first thing you want to do, now that you learned your belly breathing, is breathe in and stretch up. Breathe out a little bit, and then as you stretch up, just stretch a little bit more on that in-breath. Stretch more on the in-breath. And in yoga, we always breathe through the nose, because it's a way to get the big, big breath in and big breath out. So continue doing some of these breaths up. If you want to, you can bring your hands down, and that will help you follow the breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. In, out. In, and out. How do you feel? Should be very energizing and actually introduce a little peace into your world. One thing you may notice too, as you did these motions, it's important to have your feet well grounded. In yoga, that's called the mountain pose. But it's having all of the corners of your feet, toes, inseam, heels, along the arch, nicely grounded. Some people like to spread their toes. Some people like to pick their toes up like this and then lay them back down. Make sure you do that whenever you stand. Chest should be back, As we age, what do you see? People are slowly, slowly, slowly like this, or they walk like that. Try to remind yourself to stand up straight. That does so much for your posture, and it does so much for being able to oxygenate yourself inside your chest area. So the next movement we'll make is side to side. So we did the axle movement, and now we're going to do side to side. So breathe in, and then breathe out. Just hold this. Breathing in and breathing out. When you breathe in, you'll notice that you can stretch a little further, and when you breathe out, go a little deeper into the stretch. So when you do the side stretches, don't dump forward and don't dump backwards. It should be a nice straight stretch along here. This will help keep you a little bit more immune from injuries. If you go to reach for something and you go, oh, wow, I pulled something. Well, this will help you because it'll keep that area very limber. Back up to the center, hands down. Note how you feel. Feels good. Now we'll do the other side. Hands up, go over to the left. Breathe out, breathe in and elongate, and breathe out deeper into the stretch. Remember, you should feel it right here, not be dumping forward or back. Your arms will be right around your ears, not too far forward and not too far back. And you should be feeling a good balance here too. Moving outside of our normal range of motion, being just straight up and down, sitting and standing, helps improve our balance because it gets our mind and our body responding to being a little out of balance compared to what we usually are. Now back up top and hands down. Feels so good. Okay, so we did one area of stretch, which is up and down. We didn't do the down, but we'll do that later, up and down. We did side to side, and now we're going to do a twist. So you can just move your feet a little side to side like this. If you want to, you can hold onto a chair or hold onto a wall while we do the twists. Breathe in, and then as you breathe out, just go down and reach. You don't have to overextend. Don't do anything that's going to hurt your balance. You want to just be able to touch nicely. And then just breathe in that position. If some of you do have something like blocks, you might want to put them here and put your hands on them, unless you're using a chair. So when you breathe in, you're going out, and then when you breathe out, you may go deeper into the stretch. So let's just try that for a while. Come back up. Again, note how good you feel. It's nice. Now the other side. Breathe in, and then as you breathe out, you go over your leg. Breathe in, extend a little more. Breathe out. You can collapse a little bit more into that leg. You may feel a stretch back in the back of your hamstrings, and that's really a nice area back along here, which is also a good area to stretch to help prevent injuries. And this is a nice one for balance. It's helping us improve our balance. Keep breathing, slow, deliberate, and through the belly. Okay, come back up. Beautiful. Now, what we're going to do is a different direction of twisting, which is our spine forward and back. Well, we can do these just standing. You can do it standing. We're also going to go, for those of you who are comfortable being on your hands and knees, we'll do it what's called a cat-cow. But if you're not comfortable with that, you can do these bends standing. So you go, breathe in, breathe out on when you collapse in. If you want to sit in a chair, perfectly fine. You can do it in a chair. And you would simply do the same action of breathing out and breathing in, the spine movement. Now, I have a blanket, actually a towel, And sometimes I like to put it under my knees. I actually don't have knee injuries, but it's kind of preventative. And I also have carpal tunnel. Usually in yoga, you have your hands bent like this. I tend to like to have my hands in a fist because it's a little nicer on my carpal tunnel from a whole bunch of years in the computer industry. So you breathe in and you bend your spine, and then you breathe out. In and out. And just go at your own pace and continue the deep breathing. When you breathe out, don't smash your head too much. You don't want to crunch the neck muscles. And when you breathe down, you can just have a slight bend in your neck and tuck your tailbone. You never want to do anything that elongates your neck or hurts your neck, of course. Oh, these feel so good. If you can hear yourself breathing through your nose, that's really good. It's a good thing. Okay, next we'll do a seated forward fold. And again, you can do this in a chair. You can do it standing and do a forward fold. So if you're standing, you'd be standing. And when we breathe out, you fold down. If you can't touch the floor, you can use a chair. You can use a block. And if you're in a chair and doing a forward fold, simply go as far forward as you can. We're going to do it on the mat. So the seated forward fold is breathe in and then breathe out. And just come as far as you can. You may not be able to touch your toes. You may not be able to go farther than your knees. That's whatever works for you. Just go to your edge so you get a nice stretch in. And then just continue to breathe here. Breathe in. You maybe elongate your spine up a little bit and then breathe out. And you fold further. Okay, now we're going to do another kind of twist, which on the floor, if you're on the floor, will look like this. One leg is out, the other knee is forward. And then you put this arm back and you simply twist. Blow out or exhale. Inhale, elongate high. And then when you exhale, turn a little bit more. So if you're on the floor, do that now with your breathing. Inhale high. Exhale, turn a little more. If you're in a chair, you can do exactly the same thing. You just turn as much as you can in the chair, maybe even if your chair has arms on it, turn as much as you can. And do the breathing in, elongate the spine up, and turn. If you're standing, you can also do this. And so, whatever works for your body. So you're simply turning. You could even touch a wall. Say I wanted to turn this direction. I could touch a wall and help pull my body in a twist. We're not twisting at the knees here. We're twisting at the hips. So you want to keep your hips forward if you're standing, and then turn. All right, let's do the other side. So if you're standing or sitting or on the floor, just switch to the other side and do the same thing where you turn, elongate on your breath in, turn more on your breath out. Elongate on the breath in, turn more on the breath out. Actually, your foot should be pointing to the ceiling. Foot should be engaged. When you do yoga, having your whole body engaged, not just be sloppy, oh, I'm only moving these muscles here. Engage that leg, engage all parts of your body always, so that you're getting that isometric strengthening in your muscles and you're getting more oxygen. Okay, that's beautiful. So you can also, I want to show you another twist that, a couple of other things that aren't, I'm going to show you 3 things actually, that aren't as easy to do unless you're on the floor. So if you're on the floor, you can follow along with me, but you can do your knees up to your chest like this, and then turn to one side. This is a very beautiful, almost a restorative stretch where you could just lay here. The idea is to keep your shoulder, let me move around here so you can see a little bit better. You want to keep that shoulder, and I'm moving to my right. My left shoulder is still on the ground as much as possible. If you can't get your knee all the way to the ground, you can always use a block, which sort of helps. So either way of doing that is good, but this is a really nice restorative stretch. And you can just watch TV doing this, you can listen to music, do your deep breathing. It's a beautiful way to spend 10 or 20 minutes in an evening, just relaxing. Okay, another beautiful stretch that you can do on the floor for restorative is putting your legs up against the wall or on a pillow or a blanket. So legs up the wall looks like this, and this is a little bit of an inversion, so it kind of gets the blood flowing up to your head because we're always have our head above the rest of our body. But you can lay like this with your feet on the wall, put on some music, listen to the rain outside, do your breathing, so relaxing. And if you don't want to put your feet on the wall, some people maybe have part of a couch. Imagine I have a couch here, I just have my feet up on the couch. Same kind of principle, that I'm getting all that blood kind of moving in a different direction. And some people just like to, say, roll up a blanket or a couple of blankets and just put them under their knees. In fact, you can be in bed this way. If you have to be in bed for a long time, move your legs around so that you get a little bit of change in how the energy is moving and how the blood is moving. Okay, so that's what we're doing for movements. So if you keep those in mind and do some of those every day or several times a day, you'll feel better in the day and you'll be taking much better care of your body. There are a lot of studies on the breath, and as I said earlier, Dr. Andrew Weil, who works at ASU in directing the integrative medicine department down there, says people need to learn to breathe better. If there's one thing he could tell people for their health, it's learning how to breathe correctly. Because when we're children, we run around, we have our bellies out, we're laughing, nobody thinks anything of it, they're breathing correctly. And then as we get older, we get fashion conscious, we get uptight, we have more stresses, we hold tension in our bodies, in our gut, in our heads, in our necks, and we just don't relax and breathe correctly. So, as I mentioned earlier, The Healing Power of the Breath is a great book written by a couple doctors, and they talk about how we really live in a stressed and watchful state all the time. We typically breathe 14 to 20 breaths per minute. And, on your phone, you can get it out and sit there and breathe and count them in a minute. How many are you doing? And we're breathing pretty fast. And it's too fast to really feel good all the time. So breath is shallow and quick. That's for our sympathetic nervous system. What we want to do is make it slower and more deliberate. And that will kick in our other nervous system, that is the rest and digest. So the heart rate will go down, the blood pressure should go down, and we don't react so quickly, so we add to our own chaos. When we're breathing fast, or we're moving fast, or we're doing stuff, and things happen and we react, or why did they say that, or who did that to who, or I didn't like that, or I'm going to tell him this, and he should have said that, I'm going to send that email, or I'm going to send that text, and we cause our own chaos. So if you breathe 5 or 6 breaths per minute to feel your very best. Now this is really slow when you go to try it, and you probably can't maintain that all the time. But it's a good way to calm yourself down. When you breathe at that rate, you have higher oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, and a great big increase in your brain alpha activity. So a lot of people take medication to regulate their serotonin and their dopamine. And oxytocin is the stress hormone that we get in our, especially in our saliva. They measure it, and when we're in a stressful state. So it reduces all of those and balances the good hormones out and kind of reduces those bad ones. So it also helps us to respond and not just react to people. We don't just get, I'm so frustrated, I'm so angry, I'm bored, I'm going to eat, I'm going to use some substances, I'm going to have a drink, I'm going to smoke some pot, I'm going to do whatever. I got to do something. When you're relaxed and you're more mindful of your thoughts and your emotions, and we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, 40% of our time is just, our mind is just wandering. So no wonder we have these bad habits. So we say we can't break, but we can break if we become mindful and if we learn to breathe and slow ourselves down, tune into our mind, tune into our breath, and have better responses around us. It also opens our air sacs to better oxygenate our body, and it also gives us a big bump up in that relax and restore parasympathetic nervous system. So we're going to do 2 breaths. One of them is a breath that actually gives you more energy. So if you wake up in the morning and you think like you have to have too much caffeine, maybe try this one. It's called Ha Breath, or Breath of Joy. This book calls it Ha. This is what I mean by medicine and yoga are coming together. This calls it Ha. It's a medical book. Breath of Joy is what they call Krippula Yoga. So what you do with the Ha breath is you just stand, and it's a 3-part breath. So you're breathing in, ha. So do that with me. How do you feel? Wow, I feel energized. I don't know about you, but it does energize me. They use this a lot with kids who have ADHD, people who have trouble with focus, middle of the afternoon slumps at work, just getting yourself revving up a little bit because it really gets all that energy flowing in your body. The next one I'll sit down for, and that's called Ocean Breath, which, again, this medical book written by doctors, it's not a medical book, but it's written by doctors, calls it Ocean Breath because it sounds like if you take a shell and put it to your ear and you're listening to the sound of the ocean, but it's also called Ujjayi breathing in yoga. So what it is, you're kind of restricting your breath a little bit. Restricting it makes you breathe a little bit harder, and it adds a little bit of oomph to that relaxation that you get. So you inhale evenly, like there's a hole in the back of your nose. Okay? So this is what it sounds like. It's almost like a snoring sound. If you have trouble mimicking that, you can think about inhaling sa and exhaling ha. So it's like sa, ha, sa, sa, ha. Then as you do that, slowly move your lips until they're closed. So it's and let's do that now, and we'll continue it to a slow count of 5. And we'll do it, and then we'll see how we feel. So go ahead and begin. Beautiful. Makes me feel so calm. I just have to take a minute here. The prescription with that is to usually breathe 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out for 20 minutes once a day. Other practitioners, not this book, but another book written by some doctors. This book says 20 minutes, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out for 20 minutes a day. Another very well-known book that I know says to do it 5 minutes 3 times a day. So that book said that when you do this, the calming effects last for about 4 hours. If you do it 5 minutes 3 times a day, or the other one is 20 minutes once a day. So they're both advocating about 15, 20 minutes. It's just one of them believes that if you spread it out during the day, you get better benefits and the relaxation stays with you longer during the day. The other one's kind of saying pack it all in the morning. I kind of like spreading it out. I think that it's also a good reminder to me to slow down and be more responsive in my environment and not so reactive. So that's ocean breaths. We learned Ha, breath of joy, and ocean breath. And then just to think a little bit about this, when the whole ocean breath is restricting your breathing. What comes out, how it comes out, and how slowly it goes in and out. And singing, cheering, chanting, you see people do this stuff all the time, and guess what? They do it because it makes them feel good. So people who sing in church choirs, or they sing karaoke, or they just sing in the shower, in the car, makes them feel good. What are you doing? You're taking a breath and you're singing some song, and it comes out slowly, and then you take another breath. It's breath movement. It's healthy. Another one, say you're watching a sporting event. What do you see the college students, especially if it's NCAA or something like that? They're just, yeah, team, yeah, team, yeah, team. Again, it's restricted breathing. And any kind of chanting is. So in yoga, and you see chanting in a lot of different religions, monks, and that. Yoga, the famous one is the Aum sound. Aum. Aum. It's not O-M, Om. It's A-Om, Aum. And that is a sound that's felt in your body. We don't do Aum because it's up here. Try a high shrieky sound. It's up here. Now do a low voice. It's down here. So we'll do just a few Oms right now. So sit comfortably or stand. And I'll just keep going. And when you finish an Om, you just keep going. And we'll just do it together for maybe 5 Oms. Okay, here we go. Om. Om. I find the vibrations and the voice to be very relaxing, and I always feel a little more at peace. Funny story, I went to have lunch with a friend of mine after I did some chanting, and at lunch she said, "What, you seem different, like, you just seem so calm," and she was talking about, oh, this is wrong and that's wrong, and things going wrong in the world. And I said, I just came from an Om session. You can't make me mad right now. And there's nothing you could do. I just feel so good. So hopefully you felt that way. Okay, and the final thing that I want to talk about is we'll talk about meditation. Meditation is wakeful awareness with a quiet mind. And I started doing meditation a lot of years ago. This transcendental meditation. It was the era of the Beatles, the Maharishi Yogi. Get your cushion, sit on your cushion for an hour, don't think a thought. It was brutal. It was hard to sit there for an hour. I always felt like a failure because it said don't think any thoughts. And I thought everybody around me had a clear mind. And what we've learned over a lot of years, the University of Massachusetts, John Kabat-Zinn had brought actually mindfulness meditation to the West, kind of stripped out all the weird Buddhist, not weird, but things that people in the United States feel maybe are a little out there for them, and just focused on medically what is good about meditation. And there's oodles and oodles of studies about how meditation keeps your mind young, because people who are long-term meditators, long-term is like 7 years, have a larger brain than other people their age, because it's doing something in their brain to improve it. It helps you practice self-observation. So again, you're not just spewing out things off the top of your emotional state. You can mindfully say, I'm not my thoughts. I am not what I'm thinking right now. Thoughts are not necessarily real. Thoughts are stories. Thoughts are random. Thoughts are maybe good. They may be bad. They may serve me. They may not. So meditation helps you kind of observe yourself better and learn how to do that. And you just keep more brain mass. And how you can do meditation, and I learned this from reading Thich Nhat Hanh, who's got the Nobel Peace Prize, and he is a Vietnamese Buddhist monk. But his little mantra is breathing in, I know I'm breathing in, breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. And while you do that, you just keep repeating that to yourself as you breathe in and as you breathe out. It's simple. It doesn't require anything else around you. You don't have to have a candle or an object or anything else. And it just seems to be kind of universally mind-freeing to me. I'm not focusing on the beautiful sunset. There's nothing for me to process. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. That's it. Simple. So I do that a lot. Other people have other ways of meditating. And I've read a lot Pema Chodron, who's an American Buddhist nun. And she's so good. She's got a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of audiobooks and physical books. But one of her comments one time was, if you go into a room full of Buddhist monks and they're all meditating and they all have little speech bubbles over their head, they'd all be chattering. So this is the human condition. We chatter at ourselves a lot. We wind ourselves up. We got stuff going on. So the idea is that they, of course, probably with a lot of practice, are better than I am at pulling that chatter down. Her point being that they're humans too. We're all humans. But a lot of them have reached a level where they put EEGs on them and study them. And they found that they really can do things to their body to reduce their tension, to reduce their blood pressure, to reduce their breathing. So we'll meditate just for a few minutes, just to give a little bit of practice. My suggestion is try the breathing in, I know I'm breathing in, breathing out, I know I'm breathing out, and slow your breathing as much as is comfortable for you. And the more you can slow it, the more you're going to get help with your parasympathetic nervous system to relax and restore your body. So we'll go ahead and start now. That was maybe 20 or 30 seconds, not very long. But you can see how even a short period of meditation can be very beneficial. So the idea of you have to sit down for an hour, you have to sit down for 20 minutes. You know, if you can just get a few minutes, and you can build from there, because you'll find that you have a benefit. You'll feel better. You'll respond better in your world. So try some meditation on your own. And that concludes all I wanted to talk about. I'm very grateful that you are watching the video. May we be safe and loved. May we be happy and healthy. May we be kind and caring and forgiving. And may we know that all is well. Namaste.